Hello, everyone. I hope traders and investors alike were green today. Another amazing day. The market showed a lot of relative strength. Tesla was an absolute beast. Amazon was very strong at open. That provided some opportunities. I personally traded Tesla, Amazon, and the SPY. Uh, 7 different trades altogether. 6 of them went out with trade alerts. One of them was traded. I didn't send it out, but I talked to the Discord about it as I was trading it, but that one didn't actually go out for an alert. A couple things I want to talk about before we get into these charts. Fed Daddy Powell tomorrow is testifying in front of a congressional committee, so he will be. This won't just be a come out, make a speech, and mic drop and walk off like he did the Fed meeting. He literally just did a mic drop and walked off the stage. This won't be quite so easy for him to do that. He's going to have to be grilled by congressional members, and they're going to be able to ask questions, all kinds of questions. He's going to have to answer them. These questions can move the market. Something else I want to talk about, Fed Daddy Powell's always talking about how he has a toolbox full of tools to bring inflation down, but he never really, talks about, other than raising the hike, he never really talks about into these other tools. Well, let's talk about one. One tool that he can use to stop people from spending is let the market, help push the market down behind the scenes, with the selling of bonds or whatever, literally let the market pull back. If the markets pull back, then a lot of people don't necessarily have the extra money, have the money on hand. So a lot of the bigger money people who are investing behind the scenes are also invested into the stock market. That money's coming out of the stock market. These things, this money's going into new inventions, buildings, all kinds of stuff. Then you got retail. Surveys are steady coming in right now. They're steady doing surveys. Surveys are going out. People were saying traveling was expected to be big. You're having, these airlines are talking about how great of a summer they're going to have coming into this recession. It's kind of hard to believe with the price of oil, even though the price of oil is, crude's down right now, but that's a whole nother story. And we can talk about that, in a different video. So, they basically can let the stock market, pull back on purpose to take money out of people's pockets and to curve. The best way to fight inflation is to curve the spending, try to slow the spending down. And slowing the spending down hurts retail. Retail numbers come in, that hurts the stock market. It's one big vicious cycle. And that's why I do believe we do have some more downside to come. Wasn't sure if it was going to be today or not, but we have been, talking about this weekend that we were expecting an oversold rally from all the shorting that had happened. Also, we were just extended down here. Um, Something else that, Walmart, Macy's, Target, over the weekend, they put out an article talking about all this inventory that they have been talking about all previously. But apparently this is inventory that they had. A lot of it was back ordered due to COVID, like patio furniture. And if people can't afford to put gas in their car to go to work, can't afford to eat, they're definitely not worried about patio furniture. In the survey, one other thing that was talked about cutting back on was energy, gas, driving around, no extra driving. They also talked about, instead of spending the extra money on things like shoes happened to be mentioned in the article. So I just wanted to point that out, that, I just don't think that, we're going to go straight back to all-time highs. We've talked about this. I did a video over the weekend about the S&P 500 and the SPY. So we did a video going over some levels there. So let's get back and let's talk about our day to day. At the end of this video, we're going to save Tesla for last. I like to do Tesla second. We're going to save Tesla for last. At the end of this video, we're going to go over. I'm going to talk a little more about my setup that I use to trade Tesla today, and I use every day to trade stocks with. I also use it to trade Amazon. It's a setup I use to enter most of my stocks. All right, so let's look at the SPY first. At open, we pull back. So we gapped up this morning. You can see this gap down here. That's where we gapped up. We come down, tested it in pre-market. We talked about, how a lot of times we can test a gap and push. We also talked about how we had gaps above us and gaps below us just about everything. There's gaps all over the market right now. We talked about how we could possibly come down, fill the one down, then push up into the one above. Anything could happen. The level we were watching was 371.16. As you can see, at the fib level that was already drawn out. Above that, we were bullish. Um, we were realizing there was a gap ahead of us, and we got into it, come back, test it. That would have made a nice entry. Of course, you really want some kind of trend or something, some kind of signal. This would have been the perfect signal. So you're 15 minutes in, you got 3 5-minute candles, you're 15 minutes in, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, you're approaching 10 o'clock. That's right where we want. Well, you have a really nice bull flag here, and it just happens to be finding support at the bottom of your window. So you got into your gap. We're testing the bottom of the gap now. We're above the 9. At this point, you can see your MAs, how gapped your MAs are. You have a nice strong MACD still, and it broke out here and continued to push up. I don't know if that is a very iffy confirmation candle. I would prefer it to be a little above. Might have been able to take an entry off the 1. For my strategy, I don't know if I would have took that. I would like to have seen this candle above this candle body, to be honest. Sometimes you got to make those decisions. I have some strategies I share with the Discord, but they're just not exact like everybody. Everybody wants this exact mathematical equation or whatever that's going to make money. And it's more, this business is more about training your eyes for these setups and decision making. You don't have very long to make it, but you have to get in here and make decisions. I did take a trade at the end of the day. I was able to catch a put play. It was in this area right here. I'm not sure the exact time of the play, but I do believe it was in this final pullback here. May have been in this one, to be honest. I'm not even sure. Traded so much today, and we'll talk more about the Tesla setup. Let's go to Meta real quick. This was abused all day long. Not all day, but it traded flat at the very beginning, and then it started to pull back and just suffered pretty badly. We did this video and we talk about the Discord about pre-market levels. And if you were to draw, we talked about this morning, to have your pre-market levels drawn. If you were to draw your pre-market level as we were pulling back, when you got below this level, that could have been an entry right there, confirmation below that level. Or if you want to be the more conservative trader, you're waiting for a flag. Boom, you got a flag right there. That would have been a very nice entry, all off a pre-market level that this is one of the things that we talk about. It's part of our strategy, and it helps in our decision making. So I just wanted to point that out. So we also have Amazon. So this was my first trade of the day. And of course, this went out on a trade alert. Some of the members were able to get some of it. I believe I stayed into it longer than most. But, we seen this big push at open. We got this big push. And if you look here, that almost looks bearish when this candle opened up. So it could have got a little scary, but it was able to pick it back up. My entry this candle right here, I was above that candle body. This candle right here was able to push up. And I believe, I'm not even sure the percentages, so much was going on at the time. Amazon trade, I got in at 181 and I took my profits as high as 131, which is a $50 per contract gain. Not bad. It's not bad at all. Of course, you could have had more getting in here, but it would have been a serious gamble opening up a play right at the beginning. You could have drawn a wedge, but there's so much chop at market open. Your best bet is just to wait and let the market show you what it's going to do. How many days do they push a candle or two, then snatch it back? So, and just like right here, they pushed it up and they snatched it back. Being in this play, and I went to move on to Tesla right after this. I took this trade, and then I was eyeballing Tesla. Tesla had relative strength, and I was trying to get into Tesla, so I didn't even pay any attention. But this was giving you signals up here, like, hey, wick, big down candle, doji, back below the 9. That you could have went in anytime below that 9 for a short play. Looking at your 1-minute chart, seeing what your 1-minute chart, letting that help you make your decision making on when to actually enter. but below that 9 would have been bearish for a nice pullback. So you got a nice push up and then a large pullback. So let's look at Chewy. We had Chewy on the radar in pre-market. So this had a nice push at open. Nothing, just chopped around after that. But at open, we had a nice push. And of course, we're not trying to take this initial trade because we're waiting to see some kind of trend. But right there, this kept pushing up, pushing up. A close over top of this candle body right here would have gotten you in. This would have probably been the more conservative entry, letting it get as close to the 9 as possible. But there was opportunities there. Boeing was one that we've had on the radar and we've been talking about. And we have said many times Boeing does not, Boeing is famous for not holding its gaps. When it pushes, it's famous for not holding them. And one of the things we even have it drawn on that chart is watching for the top of these candles. Now, we don't have these levels. These levels were already there. Matter of fact, in pre-market, I actually said to the group, we're bullish above Boeing above 140.49. If we can't get above 140.49 with confirmation, no trade. And we pushed up, we touched it, and then we pulled back. And you can go right back here. You can see where we had the initial pullback, touch the 200, come back up. Seeing this right here, just setting your trend in right here, you could have went in on the attack. For me, I would want to be below the 9. I talk about that a lot. You could put some scalpable moves here, and then this trade here showing momentum to the downside, getting this candle opening right here, of course, going to U1, getting the best entry as possible, and then catching this pullback down here. And when you get down here in this chop, you can see you're putting in some kind of base. This could have pushed up. You could have got a trend, the famous trend catalyst trend break right there. And I know the Discord can see it now that I'm pointing it out. Close over the 20 right there would have been a nice entry. This candle was the first one that closed completely over the 20. So right there would have been a nice entry. Your target, you'd have been looking for a reaction at the 50. You took the 50 out. You've been looking for a reaction at the 200. If you were getting the right reaction, you cut the play. If you see momentum leaving out of the stock, you simply cut it. You guys, day in, day out, you're seeing me cut trades just because it's not working the way I thought it was, keeping my losses small, trying to let my runners win. And please, keep in mind, we're not just trying to keep losses small here. We're trying to minimize them, fully. We could take none. We would absolutely take none. This is trading, and it just doesn't work like that. But we want to keep losses small for confidence levels. We want the best entries as possible. We want to trade liquid stocks so we can move in and out of, and not just liquidity with shares. We want liquidity with options. That's liquid. A stock that's liquid on the options market. Something else that I just noticed. So you just put in a little double top. Basically, it did recover here. We pushed up. Right back into the 200. That could have been a short play coming off that 200 there. You've seen a reaction at it once already. Let's go to Neo. This was strong. I was expecting this to pull back. Still a little surprised because if you go to your daily chart, and we talked about this in a video we did put out last night on the Chinese sector, we talked about this channel, expecting to touch this channel and pull back. And if you go back to your 5, we actually took it out, held it most of the day, then we pulled back into it. So, maybe we can take it out again tomorrow, but there's a good chance we could see the pullback from here. Depends on tomorrow what, Big Daddy Powell may bring. Also want to point out Revlon did not trade it today. I did peek at the chart a few times, but it was all over our squawks. Volume pop, volume pop, volume pop. It's pushing higher, it's pushing higher. So we had plenty of opportunities for anybody that's in the Discord that was in the trading room, had plenty of opportunities to trade this. You can see it pushed up, pulled back, but right in here, you started to see that expanding volume. Pushed up, flagged in, pushed up, flagged in. So it would have been a fairly easy stock to trade. You'd been sitting through a little pain waiting to get back into your 9. but it held its flags. It didn't just snatch all the way back. It pushed up and uh, worked its way over to the 9, pushed up and respected the 9 up until this area. And then right here, you could see the momentum coming in. For me, I'm more conservative. I would have took this candle. Also depends on what your 1-minute chart looks like. But you're getting a confirmation here. Depends on how risky you are. But you could have took a scalp there. Uh, a not so conservative trader could have took the open of this candle. Also depending on what your 1-minute chart looks like. If you're too far away from your 9s, it's just like paying too much for a car. It's like going to a car lot and saying, I want to give you an extra, 100 or 1,000 or whatever for this trade. It's just, and plus you're going to sit into pain. And that's going to hurt your confidence. It's going to make you flighty. Your decision making won't be very good on the next trade. So you just don't want that. Tesla, for one, these levels were already drawn today, except the only level that I did draw was I went to the 15. I don't need to go to 30. I went to the 15, and I could see we had these candles here. So when we pushed up, I was looking to take those candles out. Now, this first trade, or the trade I'm going to talk about, was the first trade. It was the biggest trade. The strike moved over $1,000 today. Called 854. I had more than one contract, but my largest trim was $854 per contract. That's good money, guys. That's good money. But we were able to sell a lot more contracts cheaper than that. I actually sold a little early. I had a chance to sell for more, and I could feel myself wanting more and wanting more and wanting more. So I went ahead and cut it a little cheaper than where it had been, but I could feel myself becoming undisciplined and feeling a little greedy. So I cut the trade and got my composure back. I was a little excited, not going to lie about it. It was good money, and I was I'm only human, as good of a trader as I am. I'm not bragging, but uh, you know I'm a decent trader, and even I just want to say that even we're not perfect. Even the veterans, the seasoned veterans, are not perfect. Even sometimes we get a little shook, and I just felt myself getting greedy, so I cut it. And I thought $854 a contract was enough. It did move over 1,000. So I took my first Tesla trade. Bear with me here. I got notes everywhere. I took my first Tesla trade about 10:38 in the morning. So let's look at some times here. 10:25. Now I had a decision to make here. So this candle closed at 10:40 right here. So it opened at 10:35. So my trade was taken inside of this candle. I seen confirmation over this level. I had to make a decision here. This fib level, how important would this fib level be? I was hoping that this would have been the trouble area, and I was lucky here, but you can see how we come right back to this area and retested this fib level. So I did get lucky here. Um, but this 711, it's 711.03, I believe is what it is, was the level. I didn't worry about as much. I put most of the concern in this. When we opened over top of this, I'd already seen all this relative strength and felt like I'd missed a trade. I was getting a little antsy. I was able to hold it together and we got a good trade out of it. Could you imagine what it moved from down here if we took 853 if it moved 1,000 from here to here over 1,000? And I don't even remember what the strikes were. I was watching them, but honestly, I don't even remember what the strikes were. But I did take the trade right there. So my trade was taken. The alert the alert was 10:38 on the timestamp. I could have been typing stuff in. Maybe the trade was 10:37, 10:38, right in that area. I try to get them out as fast as possible. But there's a lot going on. Still trying to call the highs of the day. Still trying to call the option flow. Everything going on there. So let's see where we were on the 1-minute chart. So that candle right there, that was my entry candle right there. We pushed up, flagged right into the 9. I put my concern in this level. This level could have stopped me out. The trade could have went south. More conservative trader. If I had, a lot of times that's me, the more conservative trader, but I took a chance here. The more conservative shot would have been this level right here, was taking this level out, come back, retesting it. That would have been the better entry, to be honest. I got a good entry, but I still should have respected that level a little better than what I did. We got a nice trade, but, it worked out. But just pointing out that, even I'm not perfect, and maybe seeing this big run probably had already shook me a little bit because I was ready to get in. We got to this level when I seen the pullback, and was actually grateful. We tested off the 50 here, so I sat here and was patient, let it get above this level, and that's where we went in. We seen the 5-minute candle open and confirm, and we seen that candle flag. So keep in mind that candle opened and confirmed at 10:35. Waited 3 more minutes before I took the entry because I was waiting for the proper flag on the one. These are things we talk about daily. I even show my screen on some afternoons when things slow down, when the option flow slows down, and actually show this stuff live with live price action. And we ended up taking some more trades off of this. I know there was one trade at the end of the day. I didn't go back in and get all the timestamps for one of them, but there was one trade, a small trade at the end of the day that I took right at 3:30. So we were pulling back just to see what we look like here. Let's go look at the five. Well, we'll look at the one since we're right here. So the 3:30 candle is that candle right there. Waited for the pullback, flag right back in on the 9, and I took the entry. Now let's see what the 5-minute chart looks like at 3:30. All right, so we're down here. What did we look like? Yeah, so at 3:30 we had got a confirmation candle open up right there, and I wasn't in the trade very long at all. It was meant to be, when I say scalp, it was a little longer. It wasn't what you would say a seconds long trade, but it was just meant to be in just for a few minutes, and it worked out. We ended up taking as much as just 103 was the biggest trim per contract, but that's still, you know, I had more than one contract, but let's just say 103, for 2 minutes worth of my time. That's not bad. Like I say, I did have more than one contract, but that's what the trade looked like on the 1-minute chart versus what I was seeing on the 5-minute chart. Um, if anything here is helping you in any way, please like and subscribe. Uh, I hope you're green tomorrow. Be careful with Powell. If you're not part of a community, at least join our Facebook group. There's some free educational material in there. Have a good day and see you in the trading room.